Good morning. It is a good morning. Good evening. Good night. Welcome into NFT Live on the Web3 Network. We are just getting started here. I appreciate you guys joining us. We know you have a lot of places you could be right now, and you chose to be here with us covering heavy metal. Azuki kind of fucked up, didn't they?
Yeah. Do we want to hit that to start with? Do we want to come in with the FUD, with the negativity? Is that how we're going to start the show today?
No, I want to start on a positive note. I just can't find anything to talk about. No, I'm just kidding. Guys, we're just pressing live here. I know we were a little bit late. Apologies. Prodigy, you need to get on your game though. If you're gonna be talking some smack, I need to see some content from you here in a second. We have Hv-Mtl releasing the trailer this morning. It was a fantastic one. We have Ether apparently releasing a trailer as well. So we're getting full dosages of anime happening in the NFT space. There's also some other things happening around the industry that we'll get to, but mainly Hv-Mtl Forge today. We're going to jump into the game guide. There's a lot of alfalfa being thrown around on Twitter, on the Other Space FM. GIF, I sent you the invite. Are you in the Other Space FM?
I did the first CAPTCHA thing, but I haven't really done anything else yet. So
okay. Well, you're in now.
Thank you, Q. I feel like my Hv-Mtl journey is just getting off to a solid start. And on that note, our gamble, our bet, I don't know if we want to pull up the floor and do a quick check-in, but it was up on the news today. It was looking. Yeah, it was getting close to an ETH. Where are we at now?
We're at 0.86 now, so extremely volatile right now. So I think this continues to run. I mean, I think it's relatively small pullback here that we're getting on like a really volatile asset today.
Yeah,
but it feels good. Feels good to make that bet and have it go off. We're gonna need to talk about that exit price though.
Yeah. What should our exit price be? If you were us sitting on some Hv-Mtls looking to make some sales here, maybe in the next day or two, what would you be looking at for an exit price off of a 0.8 buy-in? Let us know.
I'm down to like 1.2. I could see us like dumping the whole lot. Maybe make an ETH or two. All right, I've been having a crazy ass morning because I was trying to edit this podcast to get it out before the Twitter Spaces, the GM Web3 morning show. Could not get it done. It takes a lot to edit this, but I did sit down with NFT Sasha, who's running for governance steward in the ApeCoin elections that are ending today. So the ApeCoin DAO has been, having ongoing elections for both special counsel for a variety of different roles. Sasha is one of those. So he kept us up to date on, the state of those elections, the origins of the DAO. Really cool guy too. He's like in Thailand right now, and he kind of does the digital nomad thing. So hopefully we get a chance to meet him. But I'm going to drop this link in the chat if you guys want to check it out. That is going to be released later today on the Wild Wild Web Pod Twitter profile. So yeah, that's a good one. He also gave a little drip, gave a little alpha drip. You want to talk about that, Gifted? What's happening over there?
I think we should, because we might be some of the first people to be kind of breaking this news.
Hit him with it.
It's your news, but if you want, I'll say, okay, so I'll just put in what I know from what you've told me, Hugh, from this awesome Wild Wild Web interview that we're about to be dropping on the Web3 network. So there's been speculation, people saying like, oh, ApeFest is probably going to be in Miami this year. And then some other people speculating, oh, well, actually, it might be in Hong Kong. And we were kind of saying like, holy shit, I mean, that would be crazy if they did two. It would actually be strategically really awesome if they, were able to hit both the West and the East with a separate ApeFest. But I mean, this is tremendously expensive, difficult logistically. So we had our doubts on if that would actually happen, if they would really do two ApeFests this year in Hong Kong and Miami. But that was kind of what people were starting to speculate around. Sounds like, again, I don't know if this is 100% confirmed, but it seems like this person has some insider knowledge. So the possible breaking news here, again, I don't think we want to say this is 100%, but sounds like not only might there be Miami, Hong Kong, there might also be a third location in the Middle East.
Which one, if you could wave a magic wand and go to this, because we were talking about it last night, like which one would we go to? But I don't think we actually got the answer. Which one would you go to if you could just like be there?
I'd want to go to fucking all of them. Are you kidding me? Like, if I could wait, are you saying I can wave a magic wand, Q, and do it
and only go to one? And only go to one.
So it would be, if I could only go to one, I would want to go to either Dubai or Hong Kong. And that's what, sorry, we didn't even say that. That's the other third place, right? That is being speculated.
Yeah. So
imagine there being 3 ApeFests around the world: Miami, Dubai, Hong Kong.
Yeah, the other speculation is like who gets in, right? Because since the last ApeFest, there have been multiple other assets that are part of Yuga. So it's like, if I own a Hv-Mtl, can I go? So if I own a Kennel Dog, can I go? And yeah. I think that yeah, I think it's going to happen consecutively, and these are going to be in October. So you heard it here, possibly first. We got ApeFest around the world, just basically a multinational ApeFest that's going to occur in the middle of October. So good luck planning that.
Yeah, smash the like for this absolute amazing alpha. This is breaking news that nobody really is talking about, but this guy got it out of Sasha on the Wild Wild Web podcast over here. So, smash the like for that, because yeah, I doubt anybody else is talking about that right now.
Yeah, and if you're tuning in right now or you're tuning in afterwards, as far as Sasha goes, he is in the running here as the governance working steward, or the working group steward election is ending. He's in the running to be elected. So the top 2 get elected here: All City, BAYC, and Tiger is Fine. Sasha was second, but it looks like Tiger is Fine is making a push late, but any votes help. It's very easy. So I'm going to drop this link. If you hold any ape coin, basically, that aren't being staked in like these third party, like BenDAO, not anything but the ape stake. So the regular apestake.io website, you can still vote. Or if you're not staking, you can vote. But it's super easy. All you have to go connect your wallet. It doesn't make you pay any gas fees or anything like that. You can vote for Sasha, and that'll be it. And you would do your part. So, yeah, man, I'm getting that episode out here relatively shortly, but it was cool to talk to him. I'm sure we'll be in meetings with him as we go.
Heck yeah. And you know what? Why don't we just go ahead and do the thing? Just go ahead and say it. We got to get it out. We got to remind everybody at some point that this is not financial advice. Oh yeah, let Jeff cook. That's what I was going to say. No, this is not financial advice. The information was found publicly on the internet. It always is. And the opinions shared on this episode are solely of the Web3 team. They always are. All information is public domain. Please DYOR. Do your own research. That's it.
That's it.
Just don't look at us as financial advisors, because that's not it.
We clearly would be fired by now, or at least relieved of our position.
I don't know, dude. Our Hv-Mtl bet says otherwise, but
yeah. Well, I'm going to be watching Hv-Mtl throughout the episode, because I do think it's going to go over 1 ETH as we get ready to go on Thursday. I think people are waiting for a pullback now, but it's sitting at like 0.83 at this point. So I do think it goes directly over 1 ETH as the game gets launched, and we're about to cover it. So again, this episode of NFT Live is going to feature Azuki just doing an absolute face plant. I thought they almost got out of it. They were very close. Like there was some FUD around the distribution for the collection and all that, but it really wasn't like deep FUD. And then they revealed the art, and it was just Armageddon. So we'll cover that here in a moment. You got something on your mind?
No. Yeah, I'm excited to talk more about Azuki.
All right, but if we, so we're gonna get started here. But if you can you please go over to NFT Live here, this tweet, and give it some love. Do something to it. Also, while you're at it, hit the like button, please. So why were we saying let Jeff cook? What's up?
You're funny. You're a funny guy.
I'm a funny guy? All right.
You're funny. Funny guy.
So why were we saying let Jeff cook? Well, we woke up to a fantastic trailer from the Bored Ape Yacht Club previewing, giving us a little bit more of a teaser for Hv-Mtl. So we're going to watch that now together. This is a fantastic trailer. I want y'all's takes in chat, as well as anything you can garner from the tidbit that we're getting.
Get hype.
Oh no. Don't do it to me. Let's go!
Sheesh. Hey, it's fucking. That's a really cool trailer, man.
Wait for it. Let's get the sound.
Dude, it's so dope. Dude, that's such a cool trailer, man. And we'll look at the Ether trailer here in a little bit, and maybe we can even go back and look at the Azuki trailer, which is not aging well given what the actual project looked like, in my opinion. But it's super high quality anime. Like, look at the quality of the illustration, the characters, the way that they're able to bring these little things like. And dude, this right here, it looks like he's like Tindering,
swiping,
swiping left and right is hilarious. It's still got jokes in there. Got Curtis and again another different animation style. Seeing Curtis coming to life in all these different ways and all these different places. The action element of it. So you're seeing it. They're forging like right there. That's what's happening. He's cooking, but he's forging new materials.
We got a game guide to go along with this as well, which is what we're about to break down in a second. But let's stay inside. This looks
like a training sort of montage or a training bit. How do you level up? There must be some kind of training. That's what I see happening here. So you probably, level up and gain points by different types of training before you can, you can fight, but also train probably.
What is with the exorbitant amount that people have to spend on these trailers? DP is saying, I'm guessing that's a $1 million trailer. Are we joking, or we actually think this is $1 million trailer? Is that the actual cost? Like, how much do animes cost? This is a minute long.
So I don't think it would be that expensive because, again, I think that Yuga is one of the few companies that can operate with economies of scale, which means that they can build partnerships or in-house teams to accomplish these things now. So I think this is maybe like $100,000 to $200,000, which is it would cost more to outsource it to a third party, right? This would be more like a $400,000 trailer or something like that. Or $500,000 maybe, if they just outsourced it. That's what I would guess. But I think, again, they're able to operate at economies of scale and in ways that other people aren't, because they're producing so much of this and able to hire people probably to be creating stuff in-house. So,
all right, DP said he's joking, but he wouldn't be surprised. So I agree with that. All right, along with the trailer, which I want to cover a little bit more, we are going to dive in here to this game guide because that was pretty much dropped alongside this trailer, and it goes very, very in depth. So Spencer Tucker, I believe the chief gaming officer at Yuga Labs, is scheduled to answer a bunch of Q&As. And I should have called this out earlier, but my thought process along these lines was they weren't going to let him Q&A without dropping the information related to the Forge, because that would be just a nightmare for that guy if there was no info out about the Forge and he had to go up and answer all the Q&As. So we did get that. That is happening later today. I'll drop that link. But so the primary thing before we go back to the trailer is going to be around these amplifiers. So the goal is to collect 6 heavy metal amps, and these amplifiers are what you use to improve your heavy metals throughout the season. You get these amps through a voting process, as well as people who don't even have heavy metals can like your, and I love this mechanic, can like your posts on Twitter, and that leads to upgrades on the game.
I mean, it's a cool thing to introduce, but also just understanding that this is just going to be absolutely owned by, the influencers that participate. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how they balance it out, and again, the unfair distributions is a big issue in the space in general. And, we just had the situation with Azuki Elemental's drop with, the whales commanding so much of the supply when, and all the little guys, with their beans that, have spent thousands of dollars and are super active in the community getting screwed over and not getting in at all, so I am worried about that, but like, we'll see, we'll see what they do, how they manage that part of it.
I don't know if there's a way around this topic you're bringing up, because even in Dookie Dash, the level of skill that you needed to have to be the best or to get the best things was a cap on a lot of people. And this is just taking that and it's putting it on social. So instead of your skill as a gamer, it's your skill as an influencer or skill as a social media poster. So I don't know how to get around
different skills. I guess you're right. Like, to me, I feel like it's different to me, but maybe it's not. So you're right. Maybe it's just different skills, different games that people are playing, right? So it's just leaning more heavily on different mechanics, and that some people are better at than others. And that's fair. And maybe the fact that I am just very mediocre at Twitter is weighing on my mind right now.
You're not mid at Twitter, GIF. You're above average.
I'm mids at best, bro. I was being generous to myself with that assessment. But can we go back to the website, because it was fucking awesome to see in the background. You can actually see the heavy metals in the game. Like, even before that one, like this, dude. Like, you can see the heavy metal up close. Like, what he's doing. He's flying around, moving, building these things. Like, dude, this fucking looks awesome, bro. These are NFTs.
So yes, they are. And there's a lot of concepts that are really cool. I see Prodigy's there in chat. We play League of Legends together, actually. And there's a really cool concept that they're going with the ApeCoin route. And they're doing daily shops. So I don't know if you played Valorant, GIF, or I don't know how it works in Rocket League, but those daily shops are what creates that FOMO, right? Like, you want to go in, and the 6 items that are there this day can be purchased with the in-game currency. That's essentially what they're doing here. So gears, and we'll dive into this in detail. If you guys have any questions, let us know. But gears are able to be purchased with ApeCoin. Gears are then used to purchase the 6 items in the shop that day. So it's all coming together, boys.
Have we looked at ApeCoin today?
I did. I was following it along with the heavy metal price. Not much. I'm expecting.
Yeah, it's not pumping. It's not pumping today, but it's still, might not be a bad time to be picking some up. It's sitting pretty close to $2 right now, and yeah, I do not have a bag of ApeCoin anymore I'm sitting on, so I'm kind of feeling like I need to get some.
Let me pull up one tweet as well. So we're going to be staying in this for like the next 30 minutes, folks, in various different ways. I've got a bunch of different tweets. One is a TLDR. So this was again, a bunch of threads are being created. So this is a little bit of a TLDR. Ape is going to be used to have gear. You then it cannot leave the ecosystem. Interestingly enough, so ApeCoin is bought, or gear is bought with ApeCoin. Gear is not transferable outside of the ecosystem. Non-HV owners, like we just talked about, can like on Twitter, which leads to some bonuses in the game. HV owners, each heavy metal is 1 vote. And we'll get into what that means in just a second. Daily leaderboard is basically leading to energy, items, and points. Season leaderboard is going to lead to amplifiers, it looks like. There's going to be, it looks like 9 weeks. Oh, wait, actually, no. Is that 18 weeks of heavy metal, it looks like we got. So there's 6 seasons. 1 season equals 3 weeks. So it looks like we have 18 weeks of heavy metal. play one season, get
so
one
it's not an always on game. It's just going to be 18 weeks.
I think they're going to at some point say, hey, this is the next evolution of Hv-Mtl. That's my guess, is this is going to play into whatever the other side is and whatever Legends of Mara potentially is. And it likely will be something that goes on beyond 18 weeks, but maybe not. Yeah, that's a good point.
It might just be a more long-term activation where they're showing what this could look like as a live service. You know, again, they're testing out and proving out different capabilities and models.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Here's the result, right? You want to evolve the Hv-Mtl, and we'll look at that just in a second, but 3 amps equals an evolution. If you play one season, you get 1 amp, but you have the opportunity to get even more amps. So that's where the mechanic of like playing this game, potentially getting even beyond where other folks are just by playing, as well as kind of the play to earn mechanic, right? Like, because these objectives that you're accomplishing, you can then sell on the open market. I want to go back real quick, Gif, to anything we're pulling from the trailer. So I've got, first of all, this is the coolest shot from the trailer right here. Like, that is an epic shot of the Hv-Mtl destroying whatever the raid boss is. And then what we see after that is a look at the evolved Hv-Mtl. So there's your Evo 2 Hv-Mtl, folks.
Yeah, and I think this is the first time we've seen them other than the like blueprint, right?
100%. Yep.
And what's also cool about this is that like, what Hv-Mtl type is Jeff? Like, he's one of the lower types, right?
I think so. Let's see. So Jeff is here. Okay, he's pink.
He's not glitch. He's
It's a good question, actually.
Because what's awesome to me is they're showing how cool this is for the lowest levels. So like, imagine the celestial. Yeah, imagine the celestials. Imagine the reapers. Like, how fucking
So awesome. He is a dynamic.
Which is one of the lowest types, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying here, is that like, I don't know if people are understanding, like, oh, you think this looks kind of cool, but you're like, could be cooler. It's going to be cooler. Like the celestials, the reapers, even the knights, like, who knows what the knights look like? This is the lowest level. Something
not talked about, GIF, here is gaming brings back the non-floor buys of NFTs. Because what's happening is people aren't just like buying everything at the floor. They're buying the extra traits and things like this.
Because there's actual utility associated with them now. Like, it actually matters for some reason. Like, when there's a game where there's repercussions of these different levels and tiers, like, you have a reason. There's utility.
So I think that's a knight there. And then I believe that's a glitch.
Yeah, but those aren't the evolved versions.
Yes,
like, it's cool to see them. You're right to point those out. But what I mean is, we have not seen any of the evolutions really brought to life in any meaningful way, other than this now, where we have the lowest level example right at the end.
All right, so I mean, if we have anything else, if you guys can point anything else that you've seen on this trailer before we move on. I love I hate to use that like juxtaposition of having the hangout vibes into the major battle vibes, and the music as well was kind of following that narrative. So if I can share the audio here again, you had the really hangout what will be the Forge, right? Because it's basically a Tamagotchi-esque game. And you have the vibes of, okay, we're hanging out, to we're fully in battle mode.
Yeah. And you know what's interesting here too? Is that setting for that fight is in the other side. So this is actually alluding to what's happening after the Forge. Once you've evolved these things, or after the game, and you're actually going into the other side, this is showing them battling I'm guessing like what that big creature is a shade, right? Because they talk about the other side getting invaded by these shades. And these heavy metals are going to be your weapons against them to an extent, like one of the weapons that you have in the other side. So the fact that that battle is not happening in the Forge, that is happening out in the other side. That's what I see there.
Okay, we're tracking the heavy metal price as we go because, again, me and GIF were taking a calculated bet that they would pump off this news. I only have one more tweet. We'll find a couple as we go through this, but this is another one that stood out to me. Other than a couple of Benjamin's tweets, but owners of BAYC, MAYC, and Kennel Club will unlock unique in-game items, adventures, and resources. Some will unlock in the Forge, and more will unlock when the Rift opens. So we thought we were just getting a heavy metal piece there, but we're getting Ape utility as well. We're getting Kennel Dog utility as well. So this is like a double announcement for those collections.
Yeah, and we got to shout out the Warp Sounds team. Like Jeff Nicholas, Lindsey Burns. If y'all don't know, that the whole music element that seems to be part of like what they're also building out here, like the culture and the IP side of this and the storytelling with the lo-fi music. Sorry, I'm gonna see. Yuga partnered with Warp Sounds for their AI music engine. So that's how they're generating this lo-fi music, radio, and a lot of that music is all through the Warp Sounds AI engine, which is really fucking cool.
Yeah, I had no idea about that. I appreciate you bringing that up.
Yeah.
All right, last tweet that I have before we jump in. This is from Benjamin giving you a look again at what the goal is, right? This at the end of the day, what is the heavy metal goal? And he lays it out here. One of the most important aspects of the Forge are amps. There'll be tradable NFTs that are meant to be burned to customize, evolve, and improve your HV. Higher rank on the leaderboards equals rarer amps. The more rare your amp, the higher its value. So the whole goal of the heavy metals up to this point right now is to acquire amps, if you want to look at it that way.
And so this is important because this shares the value of ranking higher because you get higher level amps in those seasons. Like everyone gets one if you participate, but your amp will be more amplified or more powerful, but then these are going to be tradable. So there's value there too. It's like maybe you do really well and then you want to sell that and there will be a market for these amps as well.
There will be 100% because just like the keys, at least post or pre-reveal, because we got screwed on the keys. Essentially, like the sewer passes all got what's the word I'm looking? Yeah, they got flattened because eventually, like they all came back to the same trait, or like there was no utility or extra utility. But for a time period, if you finished higher and you got like a tier 2, the ticket actually went for more, right? Yeah. Tier 2, tier 3, tier 4.
I think the word was collapsed.
Yeah, fully collapsed.
Yeah, all the tiers collapsed in. Yeah.
All right, we're gonna jump into it. I as a gamer myself, this is a really cool moment in NFTs. There have been a couple other moments that have really got me energized, but this is definitely one. I try to be. Who knows? But this is directly from the game guide. This is extremely in depth, so there are a lot of really cool tidbits we'll get into. If you guys have any comments, please drop them in chat. We're trying to go through this with y'all and really have a good time with it. So right away, it says your mission help your HV unlock its next Evo. So there it is right up front, what the game is supposed to consist of. Heavy Metal Forge is a game that starts as a mix between a pet game and a casual world builder and ends as a competitive dungeon crawler. So right away, again, Garga and Gordon, they're EverQuest players, they're MMO players. This is the concept. You build up your character and then you fight in a raid style environment. And then you get items based on that. So a lot of World of Warcraft players will vibe with this because that's essentially what it is, a competitive dungeon crawler. Your HV is relying on you to evolve into an Evo 2 and will earn up to 6 powerful upgrades for its Evo 2 form. You'll do this by building a workshop, your forge, which will generate the energy needed to explore the rift and keep your heavy metal happy. You'll be at the mercy of fellow degens voting daily on how your forge stacks up after 3 weeks. The season's votes are tallied and your fate will be sealed. So that's the best overview possible. what's your general takeaway from just that summary? Because that seems to be just the bullet point summary of what we're doing in Hv-Mtl and the Forge.
I mean, look, I got my popcorn, I got my snacks over here, and just enjoying hearing your voice right now, reading through it, Q. That's it. No, I think it's really great that they're putting it all into relatable concepts for gamers to understand exactly what's happening. I think understanding, like, yeah, it starts as a world builder and then moves into the dungeon crawler. Like, that's conceptually helpful to me. And it's exciting, like that dungeon crawler, like, World of Warcraft type thing. Again, they hired the CTO from Activision Blizzard, right? So it's like, dude, they know what they're doing, man. Like, that's why it's so exciting to me, is that, like, this is not just some pipe dream of some, like, kids saying, like, hey, if you give us a couple $1 million, we're going to make a game. Like, yo, this is the future of gaming.
Well, guess what having as well a raid that launches every 3 weeks does is it builds hype around that event, right? In the same way that they built hype around the Other Side Trip 1 and 2, that's what you're going to get with this, is people are going to try to upgrade, try to have the coolest HVs, and then we're going to all go into a raid. I don't know if it's all go into a raid together or if it's going to be an instance where you're just there and maybe a couple friends.
No, I think it's with your groups. I'm sure it's with groups.
All right, let's dive in. We're going to be here. VGF, I love that comment. The goal is to entertain while experimenting with tried and true gaming styles and appease/distract as a bridge until a more fleshed out gaming ecosystem can be launched. Love it. So they've essentially they're a large gaming studio, but building these mini games as well. That's interesting, because I haven't seen that from like a Blizzard building a Candy Crush game, right? I haven't seen that at all. But
no, that's not true. Like, you don't see it because you don't play those games. Most of those big studios also own most of the mobile games. Like Candy Crush is owned by a big studio.
Did they originally start from their team building Candy Crush and then were acquired?
Sometimes they're acquired. Sometimes, yes, they're absolutely built within those big studios. But most of them are all owned by the major publishers. So like Ubisoft, Blizzard, EA, Epic Games, they own most of the big mobile games. That's actually where like a surprise, like, you'd be shocked if you learned that, like, what percentage of total revenue from Electronic Arts is actually mobile games versus, you think that the FIFAs and, the Star Wars PC games and Xbox games, you think those are the money makers. Actually, like, a shockingly massive part of their revenue is all mobile gaming.
So VGF is getting into the distribution here or like the increased supply that they're doing this with gaming assets, right? With a large gaming environment, you need to be able to have a bunch of items, and that's where I think the biggest debate is between people that are in NFTs. They're like, you're diluting our supply. It's like, well, they're making a game, so there needs to be a ton of different assets. Have you looked in the inventories in a RuneScape bag or a World of Warcraft bag? It's gigantic. Difference is you can buy, sell, and trade these assets on an open market. So all dilutive assets on layer 1 and carrying the burden of connotation of needing to have value added. They will always need to go back, I think, to the Bored Apes. I understand that Bored Ape has already gotten dropped a bunch of value. Like that's a fair take. Is saying, look, they already got dropped $500,000 worth of assets or whatever the hell it ends up being. And so therefore we can now turn our attention to Hv-Mtl and put all of our attention there. But I think they're growing out the teams of those different arms of their company with that intention in mind. And I think there will still be value driven to those large layer 1 assets you're talking about, the mutants, the BAKCs. You see it in the already talked about utility inside of this game. All right, so I'm going to read from this real quick. Go beyond your forge. After 3 seasons, a strange new portal opens, but only. So we're going to get this after. Again, it's 3 weeks, so 9. Okay, so 2 months we're going to be in Hv-Mtl before I think the first dungeon. It looks like after 3 seasons, a strange new portal opens, but only to some. Your generated energy will determine whether you can enter and how far you go. Wow. So that's where they're going to drive this ape coin usage, right? Like, you're not going to be able to even enter the dungeon without getting to a certain level. Explore, survive, prepare is step 2. Discover the rift's secrets, dangers, and rewards. Craft legendary equipment to get ready for what's next. So what this feels like to me, GIF, is like there's a whole nother area that is going to be unexplored by people that don't get to a certain point or level.
Yeah, this is interesting because, you know, one of the concerns that we've had is about how do they work in the pay to win mechanic, but this is more like pay to catch up kind of, right? So it's like you can hustle and grind in the world builder and level up and you get to move forward. It's the people that don't do that like, if you want to, you're going to have to pay something to do this here. So, you know, that doesn't seem that bad to me. It's like, you can either put in the time, play the game and play the seasons and take the game seriously, or you can just, you know, pay to get into the next area or not. So I don't know. That doesn't seem like the worst version of pay to win, you know?
All right, this is a big question here from Andit. Good to see you here, man. He said, I haven't been in the market for about 4 months. Good time to take a break for sure. But good to see you. Good to have you here. Asking if we have a Discord. This is honestly the primary location where our community meets, right? Is YouTube, is the live shows, is on Twitter. We do Twitter Spaces as well. If you want to follow at cked and follow at NiftyQ, you can, you know, keep up with what we're doing every day because we have these shows daily. So this is primarily where we're interacting as a community, but we do have a Discord that'll be able to drop here in a second. All right, the third step, fight to the finish. So this is the whole raid concept. Epic fortune is just around the corner, so are epic beasts. Compete with other HVs for a piece of the treasure that awaits. Time and loot is limited, so defeat the raid bosses before the rift closes. So that's a departure a little bit, I think, from, well, not really. I never got to high level raiding in WoW. So I don't know if it is just for a little bit of time or if it's ever present in the game. I know there are some raids that are, you know, forever. You can go back and do them all the time. But basically they're, again, implementing the idea of scarcity, right? Scarce amount of time.
Yeah. What's really striking me sitting here reading through this and looking at the actual gameplay, the visuals, the animation, the utility, the coin, the different assets that are all being factored into this, how it all levels up into the other side. Dude, what's striking me is like what a joke it is when you try and compare Azuki or any other project to them at this point. Like we keep trying to go for this narrative of like the next Bored Apes, or like, oh, can so-and-so dethrone the Bored Apes? Bruh, they're so far ahead of anybody else. Azuki just diluted their OG project, dropped their value of the original art in half. They didn't even create new art, new characters, really, maybe a few with the animals. They didn't add anyone new really into the community. They don't have any utility other than a party in Vegas and maybe more airdrops right now. They haven't even started any real sustainable business model that I know of other than like maybe some merch or doing a party here and there. Like, these guys are literally creating the future of gaming, one of the biggest industries in the world. They're going to be competing on a global scale with top game publishers with this shit. They've got all the mechanics, all the utilities figured out. Just, I don't know. I feel like we need to almost like take a step back and slow our roll with all this nonsense about like so-and-so's going to dethrone Bored Apes. Like,
yeah,
bro, get the fuck out of here. Well, nobody's close.
It's a reaction to the floor price. And we have to stop ourselves all the time from ranking projects based on floor price. But Azuki was having a lot of hype because their floor price was literally inching up to Bored Ape. And I'm not saying that there doesn't need to be a lot of things in before that. But if you have a 16 ETH floor price, you're next up.
That was still only half the value. You know, it wasn't even half the value of the Bored Ape floor price. So we definitely get ahead of ourselves.
So imagine this: you join the raid on your HV, and if you So HV or heavy? I think I'm just gonna go with heavy. So you raid on your heavy, and if you die, it's burned and gone forever. I will actually look forward to this. That was a really cool concept in RuneScape where you would be able to go into the wilderness and really high risk stuff where you would be able to loot other people that died, but you yourself could die and lose everything. And those
playing for
PvP
keeps,
mechanics,
bro.
Dude, I love it. I
It's
love
playing
it.
for keeps.
Give me more. All right, utility. So basically, this is in competitive edges. And then they start off with utility for BAYC, MAYC, and Kennel Club. So they're saying unique claimable items will be in the shop in season 2. They'll help you stand out in the Forge, and NFTs also have ongoing utility in the Rift. More info to come. Okay, this is one that these are two we haven't covered. Your HV class. I know it's tough to read, folks. I'm going to try to zoom in.
Heavy class. Come on.
Yeah, heavy class. So based on your heavy's class, each Forge's visual theme is based on a heavy's rarity and class. That's pretty cool. I didn't think that the theme of the actual, like the setting, would be based on which one you owned. I can't wait to see the hollow, the 1-of-1. Are the hollows the 1-of-1, or is there like a legendary class?
I think there was I don't know. Maybe that was the legendary class. Let's go look and see. Maybe we're saying the same thing.
All right, so I'm going to continue reading here. Man, my eyes are getting.
Yeah, no, there's hollows, and then there's one legendary. So that there is hollows, and then there's one legendary.
All right. So further helping to differentiate your unique creations, each heavy class will also have its own starter bonus pack. The breakdown in the HV. So we'll look at that in a second. Heavy class will also come into play when the Rift opens. Each heavy class will have distinct specialization perks, but remember, it is still up to you to design your Forge to catch the eye of voters. And then Companions says when the Rift opens, Companions will have their own unique benefits. More of this to come.
Dude, we should.
So this goes incredibly in depth. So I shout out to these guys for laying it out. It's, I think, what's driving a little bit of obviously like heavy metal purchases is they finally laid out these details. So getting started is kind of talking about your plot. Taking care of your HV is interesting, or heavy is interesting, because this has a very Tamagotchi Pokemon-esque feel. So it gives a different vibe, and then we can get into gears and voting. So, I mean, let's just start where it says to start off on this journey. The crafting station contains the blueprints that your heavy can use to build, expand, and decorate. When you start out, you only have a blueprint for tiles and decorative objects, but you can unlock new blueprints by discovering and completing hidden objectives. You may discover hidden objectives once you build a certain number of tiles, once your tiles reach a certain level, and maybe even destroying some of your tiles. Once you've unlocked new blueprints, you can see them in the Craftables tab. Forges tomorrow, yes. So if you don't have a heavy, there is a delegation aspect to this too. So me and Gifted have about, I think between all of us, I think it's like 9 or 10.
We have 10 between us, but we're gonna flip half of them, right?
Yeah.
So 5 is probably what we're gonna have. Dude, we should just go scroll through. Oh wait, so what are these?
So these are the things that are going to be part of a lot of this gets really, again, really in the weeds. This is the
world builder. These are the world builder assets, like parts.
So you'll get blueprints by essentially getting different objectives or completing different objectives. So you can unlock new blueprints by discovering and completing hidden objectives. The blueprints are essentially for these tile and decorative objects. Choose your tile and object placement carefully, because once you confirm the build, you can't move it. You will, however, be able to rotate it at no energy cost after completing. You can also destroy a tile by clicking on the tile. Decorative objects can also be rotated like tiles. Click on the tile where the decorative object sits and select the object tab. From there, you can rotate. Okay. So 2 different aspects here. One is going to be ones that I think are going to be used for completing different objectives. And then of these, it feels like are going to be used as potentially vote getters, is how I'm looking at this, right? Decorative objects that don't have much utility beyond making your plot look cool so people vote for you. To upgrade a tile's level, click on it and select the upgrade option. So you can set decorative objects on tiles. If you decide to build another decorative object on a tile with one already, the new decorative object will replace the previous one. What do you got?
I mean, we really haven't even spent a lot of time looking at like the holo art or anything. Like these things are epic. Like imagine how cool these are gonna fucking be as evolved mechs and shit. And then like we go look at the fucking Reapers, like
yeah, the Reapers were fantastic already, so I can only imagine what they're looking like. And it's bringing up a good point, and I think the purpose of the Forge again is to be an easy to play game. Games that you can play while sitting and taking a shit. Yeah, Hv-Mtl is a mobile game, and it can. It's not only a mobile game, but it can be played as mobile. All right, energy is important here. Energy is the main resource of the game. It's used to build tiles and decorative objects. Every class of heavy will start with a special bonus pack that gives an extra edge early on. You should probably not use the energy packs from your bonus until after unlocking your first portal. Your heavy max energy capacity is determined by your portal upgrades. Want to increase your energy cap, build more tiles, level up those tiles, and then unlock and level up your portals. All right, here's a cool point. Your game will pause if you close your tab. If you wish for your heavy to keep chugging along in construction, be sure to keep your browser tab open. Even if you close your browser tab, your heavy will collect portal energy every 2 hours.
Interesting. So it will be passively mining a little bit.
Yes. Oh, we got hotkeys. Get the hands ready. We got hotkeys here. You can see A, B, C, D, F. So none of the like hotkeys that you would see on like a League of Legends game, right? Like A, W, S, D. There's not a ton of that. There's S, A. Yeah. So A. Yeah, we'll look at that here in a second.
But that's not going to be. That's just for desktop, right? There's going to be a mobile version too. So
I believe so. Yeah. This is probably the most important of the tabs we've seen so far. Portals are going to allow your HV to go to different areas. So, if we have 10 heavies, and this is where the heavy utility really pops off, you can bring heavies to different areas, like we saw in those images where 8 heavies were like all in the same plot, and you do that through a portal. So portals are machines that allow your heavy to travel to other dimensions and a means to invite other heavies from your wallet if you own more than one. Up to 1 heavy per portal can be invited per day, with a maximum of 4 heavies per day, even if you have more than 5 in your wallet. Every time you invite one of your heavies, it will grant you 10% max energy capacity. For example, if you use all 4 invites per day, you can reach the 40% max energy capacity instantly. So we're in the complexity chasm here, folks. Welcome.
Yeah. So wait, say that again. What's the point? So you can use portals only a certain amount of time each day or something?
Yes, I don't know if that's maxing out on your plot, but you can only up to 1 heavy per portal can be invited per day, with a maximum of 4 heavies per day. But you can create multiple portals, I'm assuming.
Interesting. And it is saying Dookie Dash looks very good for people that know what it is, but it would have to be appealing to children, in my opinion, since children are the main source of ad revenue for most ad-based mobile. This isn't an ad-based mobile game, though. They have other revenue sources. I don't think this is. It's not to say that they won't launch an ad-based mobile game in the future, but I just don't think that's what this is.
When your heavy goes on an interdimensional journey through a portal, it comes back with an improved mood and collects energy stored in the portal. So portals are going to be very important. I kind of still need to see this broken out. If you're there in chat and you understand what's going on with portals, I would love to have your take. All right, this is the Tamagotchi piece here, GIF, of taking care of your heavy. Basically, they're going to have moods. they're going to be able to do better things when they're in a better mood. So increased tile energy generation, increased portal event energy, work speed, move speed, and you do that by petting, cleaning, letting your or heavy sleep, and opening portals. So the petting piece is a la Tamagotchi. Cleaning your heavy space, they say your heavy takes a shit.
Wow.
Your heavy is programmed to shit.
It's a living robot being.
So it looks like tiles are going to be very important to upgrade over time. The amount of energy generated by petting your heavy will depend on the tile level you're petting it on. So that's going to be the idea, I think, with the tiles that we saw earlier, is to continuously evolve those tiles to be of more use to the heavy.
Yeah, that looks like a celestial.
Yep. So the heavies are going to be able to sleep, it looks like. Opening portals. There's the portal animation. All right, here's a really easy to look at utility GIF for these different heavies. You can see it as I click to the right, other utility pieces are added. So bonus packs by class. You ready? So you can see the bonuses increase for each heavy. So 1 clean freak bonus for the glitches. And then as you move on to dynamic, 1 clean freak and 1 power boost. So there's utility for the heavies. It feels like, I mean, I guess we're getting a setting bonus as well too, right? That's what they said early on. Your setting is determined by your heavy class.
Yeah, that'll make it unique. But it also said rarity too, which is interesting. So you'll probably get grades of the different settings based on rarity. But yeah, that's good. So you start to see, that there are differences in those tiers. Why do they matter? A lot of it has to do with the boosts and the bonuses in the game.
Okay, so up to this point, we've covered a little bit of the tile concept, the Tamagotchi aspect of taking care of your heavy. And this is the eventual goal, right, is the Hv-Mtl amps. So you see a visual there. There's different tiers of amps that you receive by playing and falling on the leaderboard. So amps are rewards you earn for taking care of your heavies and garnering votes on your forge. Every player who participates in forge will receive 1 amp at the end of each season. So that GIF, I think that's super important because what did they say? 6 seasons? I think they said 6 seasons, which is 18 weeks.
Yeah, 3-week seasons.
And you must have at least 3 amps to unlock the next evolution. So just for playing, you're going to get an amp per season. So I think everybody's going to get the chance to evolve, no matter where they play on the leaderboard.
If they play the seasons.
Yes.
You don't have to score well to get an amp, to get 1 amp, but you can get more and better ones, right?
So at the very least, you can, if you play all the seasons, you get 6 amps because you get 1 per season. So you can upgrade 2 heavies. Is that what I'm saying?
Benj is asking an interesting question about the social aspect and the voting, saying, do you think we will be able to choose the forge that we visit and vote for, or will it be sort of randomized visits that would make the voting system more fair? Yeah, it would be cool to have it more random like that, something like that, to try and increase the fairness or somehow. Like, yeah, that's what we were saying early on, is like, how are they going to try and institute some kind of fair gameplay into this? Because otherwise, again, it's just going to be, the big influencers, people with big social media followings that kind of run the whole show and get all the benefits.
It feels like to me that we'll have a searchable effect. I really do. I don't think it's going to be fully random. You're going to be able to go to the best forges. I truly believe that. There might even be a more of like a what's the word I'm looking for? Like a momentum effect of if you score higher on the leaderboard, you might be able to go to that forge through the leaderboard. And so if you score higher, it's like a compounding effect of people seeing your plot, maybe voting for you more. But that would be my guess, is we can travel freely. There probably will be a random piece you can choose to do. Amps will initially be attached to your HV save data, not to your wallet. So off-chain. When it's time for your heavy to evolve, amps will be brought on-chain, at which point you'll be able to burn them to evolve your heavy. It's a pretty cool concept. I think you need that with where the blockchain tech is today. So I don't disagree with having... I mean, somebody would walk into this and be like, I need everything on-chain for it to be a Web3 game. But I think that person would be wrong. Once amps are on-chain, they'll be tradable. So you will be able to also obtain other amps. Okay, so you could buy amps if you don't get enough. So there's another look at a heavy. I think that's Jeff.
Yo, go back. Yeah, that kind of looks like Jeff. But yeah, it's cool. And again, it's just cool that what they're showing is like, these are the lowest level ones. Just imagine how fucking cool they can get, you know, when they like rank up and you've got the celestials and the knights and the bios. Like, dude, the bios are going to be wild looking.
Yeah, they are.
The hollows are going to be so wild looking, man.
All right, the leaderboard concept is all over the place, right, with the reactions, because that's where the votes and likes come in. So forges can be voted on by other players. The more votes your forge receives, the better your score and your heavy potential evolution. This is where playing with guys like the Other Space FM is interesting, where we can kind of gild up. But there was a really cool comment on Twitter that I saw also that's like, depending on the mechanic, you're just going to vote for yourself each day. So maybe we could break that down. Daily leaderboards based on.
Well, I was wondering if that, because that does incentivize and support people buying more and holding the NFTs, right? It's like,
yeah.
If each Hv-Mtl gives you a vote and you can vote for yourself, cool. But even if you can vote for your friends and trade those votes with other people, right? Because like, even if you can't vote for yourself, you can get into a guild and say like, hey, my 10 votes each day, I will give to you if you give me your 10 votes or something like that. You know what I mean? So you can trade votes that way to essentially get the same votes that you have, you know, like whatever your vote is worth, you can get that vote. Right.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that kind of sucks too, right? Like it's kind of gaming it, but I mean, that's the way of the world in a way, you know?
It's a game.
Yeah.
Life is a game. We live in one big simulation. Get used to it, I guess.
Based on those votes, you will be given a rank on a daily basis. Daily leaderboards will award energy, in-game items, and points towards seasonal leaderboards. Your seasonal leaderboard rank is based on points across the daily leaderboard. At the end of a season, everyone who participated will receive an amp, but those with the most votes will receive the rarest amps. So this is where it gets into the voting. And you're right, Gift. That was the first thing that popped off the screen was utility for heavies is votes. Voting costs energy. Every time you cast a vote, the energy cost will increase in scale. Wow. You'll get access.
That's interesting. So it adds additional stakes and value and a cost to voting, which means that people are not going to vote frivolously.
Mm-hmm. You can vote once per day per heavy. When you vote for a forge, you gain a small reward. So there's a little bit of incentive there. You can vote for other forges in your wallet once per day, just not on the forge you're currently building. In other words, if you hold more HVs, you get more votes. So technically, you really only need what? If you own more than one heavy, then the idea of voting for yourself is in complete play, because I can send my one heavy to another heavy's
forge.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to think about it. So I could send heavy 1 to heavy 2 and then heavy 2 to heavy 1. Right? Like I can send them to forge 1 and forge 2.
Just vote for each other.
I guess
like that.
Okay, so this is where it comes in. So you're going to try to evolve a forge and using like 4 or 5 heavies, right? So they're all going to be trying to, so you can't, it would be extremely hard to maintain I think 4 forges at the same time, which is going to make it so it's more about the community vote, I think would be a take. Are you following?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. It's not going to be that easy to just make a bunch of really great forges and maintain them.
Exactly. All right, this is another cool aspect. I mean, there's a ton. I don't know where I would rank each, but this would be relatively high. Gears are essentially the in-game currency for the forge. Can be purchased from the in-game shop with ApeCoin, baby. So there it is, ApeCoin utility. Gears are non-refundable and non-transferable. Gears allow you to pay for items in the shop, speed up building process of tiles and decorative objects, buy tiles, etc., etc. So there's going to be an ape sync that everybody was waiting for. I think this isn't a surprise, but at least when this announcement's dope. And then here's the Riot Games piece that I was mentioning. So essentially, like Valorant, I don't know if League does this so much, but Valorant basically has items that only exist for 24 hours in the shop. That kind of drives your FOMO. You're like, oh my God, like a really cool skin for this gun that I like just popped up in the shop. I need to buy it. So they're saying the shop displays 6 items every day that can be bought with gears. The shop's 6 items change daily. They can be bought with gears. Prices vary.
Yup. I think I'm gonna have to move something into ApeCoin.
Premium blueprints will be added to your craftable blueprints queue in your crafting station once you unlock them, but you can also purchase them on demand from the shop with gears. Regular blueprints can only be crafted at your crafting station. Really important piece there. So the idea, again, of Hv-Mtl or the forge is essentially to have a better land in tile environment. They're basically saying pay with ApeCoin and you'll get premium blueprints. You'll get access to the coolest shit that you could put on your land.
That makes sense.
All right. And I think we made it all the way through. Obviously, I mean, one, there is a space later tonight. I'll link it before the episode's over with Spencer Tucker, who's going to be basically doing a Q&A on all this info. The release is tomorrow, so I'll also be in the other space FM trying to figure out what we're doing. They're streaming tomorrow on their channel. We're streaming tomorrow on this channel when it goes live. So we'll be here when it goes live. I'll be on my desktop streaming live for you guys via our channel. So we're going to try to, be efficient and see if we can get after it.
It's definitely going to be an interesting, because I also got like summer stuff coming up in the next week or two. So it's going to be interesting trying to get into all this and figuring out how we coordinate and guild up and all that stuff. So, But it's really exciting, man. I mean, it really is. Like, we've been talking about gaming, Yuga, other side, Web3, gaming, NFTs and games, mobile, like all these things are coming together, tokenomics, ApeCoin, it's all coming together. And this launches tomorrow. Yep. This is huge. And so far their execution's been fantastic. I'm expecting this is going to be a great rollout. Obviously there's a lot at stake. So like if shit crashes and burns or it's a horrible game, that's going to be bad. It's going to be very bad for the space, obviously, especially on the back of this Elementals reveal. However, I'm pretty bullish that this is going to be a good game just based on how they executed Dookie Dash. And looking at this, I mean, it looks phenomenal. It really does. It looks better than I expected, honestly. Like the Hv-Mtl forge and everything. It's more than I expected. It's way more detailed. Looks fucking great. Has a lot of moving parts. It seems like they're really trying to make it fair as much as they can and figure out weird mechanics or ways to not make it super easy to just gamify it. They obviously have, pay to win aspects to this with ApeCoin, but that's good for ApeCoin. So it's like, you have to see that in there. So I don't know, man. Overall, I'm pretty excited about it. Actually, really excited.
I hate to I hate to get too hyped up about this. This is about so much more than flip trading or, trying to. This is such an interesting dynamic to me because I've been chasing this Web3 gaming narrative for a long time since I got into the space. Like that was the first thing I thought about CryptoKitties is what could I do with a CryptoKitty in a game and how other folks could build off of the platform that the Dapper Labs team created. But getting back to the original point, what we pulled off with the Hv-Mtl, flip price too, we could have went more heavy into that. Like there's still these flips to be made in this space. If you know what you're doing, if you understand the narrative of the space, this seemed like an easy win. It went down to what, 0.7 after our 0.8 call, but based on the trailer hype, based on the release, this was a relatively easy call, and you could have made bank on it. It's as simple as that.
Dude, I mean, shout out to the people that were watching and getting in at 0.6, 0.7. Good for them, man. Prodigy saying, imagine if we didn't have Yuga doing this right now, and only thing we had to talk about for a month is the Azuki fumble. That'd be awkward. Yeah. Again, you know what? Don't fade Yuga. They just are a big part of the space, propping it up still. They're about to show again why. And it's exciting, man.
So another aspect of this, and I think this is the last thing I'll show related to Yuga in general, is Garga's input into what's happening, right? The team and Gordon leaving has been a topic of discussion on this channel, and whether we lost the heart of essentially what Yuga was. Well, Garga came out with a long thread today talking about their thought process around Hv-Mtl. And so this was a lot of the positive sentiment was around Garga actually breaking down his thoughts on where BAYC is right now and where Hv-Mtl is going. So he also brings up Gordon. I mean, it's a huge piece, and I hope he does come back to the community. But this tweet was awesome. I'll link it here in chat. There's a lot to be broken down with it. He said, 2 years ago, the summer after BAYC launched, Gordon, Gunner, and I had an idea for a brutally hard old-school arcade game. It was going to be a trippy and excessively dark, and we were pretty stoked on it. Hopefully some of that original creative we had back then will come to life someday. But the general concept behind the game stayed with us even if the creative got shelved. An impossible-to-beat game with a limited number of plays available, where at the end of it, each player would be granted a unique NFT character tied to their position on the final leaderboard. That sounds like Dookie Dash, honestly, more than it sounds like Hv-Mtl. He goes on to talk about a lot about EverQuest. I want to go through this whole thing, but I don't. It's a long thread, but there's a lot to take from this. I mean, this is literally Garga speaking to the community at this point. And people are wondering what, his thoughts on everything. He mentions EverQuest. What better way to display this use case for gaming NFTs than with an absurd ephemeral game built to exist only for a short time? When that first game sunsets, a brief pause, and then on to the next one. Bring those characters back. Pick up where they left off or drop them into an utterly new, different experience. These mini games would eventually ladder up to a tentpole experience that would be that much richer for all the love that went into the journey. It's a great quote. These heavies are currently in their Evo 1 form, basically Charmander stage. They're a little cute, even though, they could probably fuck you up. As far as mechs go, they are basically pre-adolescent. Forge is how we take an HV to an Evo 1 to the next stage. You won't need twitchy reflexes like you did in Dookie Dash. This space is creative, social, and fun. So Forge is designed to tap into all of that. Okay, it looks like poof again. There it is, GIF. Unlike Dookie Dash, Forge.
Yeah, so this is an ephemeral experience that'll only last for 18 weeks.
Game starts off as a mix between a pet game and a casual world builder, but later develops into a dungeon crawl.
Asmodai saying he'll use AI to summarize the thread. Nice.
I throw this YouTube episode in there as well while you're at it.
All right. Prodigy saying Yuga's Atlas, the world on their back.
I love that we've turned Prodigy into like the biggest Yuga homer that we know.
He's a philosopher, that man. Facts. Shout out Prodigy.
All right, it took us about an hour. Like in total, I think we started about an hour ago talking about Hv-Mtl and the Forge. We will again be live tomorrow. Let's get to the second topic of the day and kind of wrap that up with the episode. Azuki absolutely lost their shit yesterday.
Yeah, can we, before we go deep into Azuki, can we just watch the Ether trailer? I just want to see it a big. Let's just enjoy some more cool art real quick before we go down this FUD hole. Go into a FUD hole.
GIF has been trying to get me to play Ether for about 2 months. So yeah, here we go. First time ever on NFT Live.
Yeah, so they're leaning a bit more into the like adult, sexy, gritty world of money, Cyberpunk. Sex. Yeah, money, sex, violence, and expensive watches and fashion, Lambos and shit. So look, I wanted to show it because it's cool. It's always great to see, you know, Web3 IP doing high quality trailers and shit like that. But this is just a trailer. And we can actually look, if you look at actually, if you go to Gifted Twitter and look at my retweets, I did share what the PFPs look like. The PFPs do actually look, in my opinion, like some of the best anime art out there. I mean, this to me is actually really good. So if the actual collection looks as good as these look, some of these teasers that they've been sharing, then I actually really fuck with this art. I think this is dope. So anyway, Ether is dropping. My understanding is, and this is in like 2 days, right? So like tomorrow Hv-Mtl launches, and then the next day it's Ether. So
what a week.
Again, this is a big week in NFTs. This has been highly anticipated. It's going to be 0.35 for the allow list, which is closed. I confirmed with Drew. There's no more allow list, so we're fucked on that. 0.35 to mint, which is expensive in this market, but then public, if it makes it there, is 0.65. They were getting a lot of FUD. Ether was catching a lot of FUD for this being very expensive. But now, with what the Elementals just did with a fucking 2 ETH mint price for a derivative that dilutes their original project, I think that this is going to sell out. I think people are not going to feel nearly as bad paying 0.3 or 0.6. And so that's the anchoring effect that Azuki just had. But they did steal a lot of liquidity out of the market. And there's red flags here, which is that their team is not doxed. Apparently the artist is, but the team behind it is not. And there's a lot of questions about the roadmap and why they need that much money and what they're going to do with it. Seems like they're trying to lean into the fashion aspect, like fidgetals and fashion goods and stuff like that, maybe. But a lot of question marks. So yeah, kind of some red flags around the team and what they're actually going to do with all that money. Might be a little bit of a pump and dump, might be something that, you know, just is good art that does well, but then doesn't really deliver much on the back end. Remains to be seen. I do like the PFPs though, based on those on the previews that they've shared, which again, that's more than Elementals did. We'll get in, that's maybe a transition there. At least they're sharing what some of the PFPs look like, so you have a better idea of the final product. And we know that they've been working on this for a long time, so it's not just a rush job like Elementals, in my opinion, clearly was. Yeah, those are some thoughts.
The quality of the marketing production are really good. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm looking at the undoxed founders and what the community looks like today. Why wasn't it on my radar? Although you were, showing me on it for the last couple of weeks, I haven't seen it come across my timeline in any meaningful fashion. And maybe that's because, again, I don't want to bring in any bias or bring in any of my, how can I say it? My bubble maybe isn't kind of covering this, but it feels like the coolest thing about this project is it's not Azuki, and I'm not going to buy something based on that narrative, which again, I love the quality of production and the marketing that they've got up to this point. What does that community look like today? That would be my first question. Is it strong?
Yeah. I mean, they got a lot of followers on Twitter. That's about all I know. And I know that this has been a very hyped allow list. I don't know how big their Discord is, but I bet it's pretty big right now. If anybody's in their Discord and can let us know, because they've been building this for a while. It's been a pretty hyped allow list, and they've been gamifying, getting onto it, and people being on it for a while. I think that's all part of the, I think you have to have been on the allow list for like a month and a half to get the 0.35 mid price or something. So anyway, there's been a lot of thought that's gone into the marketing and the launch of this. And again, at least I know that, I feel much more confident that when this drops, at least the quality of the art is going to be way better than the elementals. Because let's take this moment to pivot into that nonsense.
Well, before you do so, I hate it here, man.
4 domains, 1 Pepe.
Elemental. They completely ripped that off of the Elementals website as
well. I was going to point this out to you yesterday, and then I just didn't. I was like, fuck, I don't even want to bring it up, man. Because Pepe everything, bro. They're legit is a studio or multiple 100%. Studios that are absolutely built. They've built an entire business model out of creating Pepe derivatives of any project that gets any sort of awareness or momentum.
True. Let's jump into elementals. I do have the price chart here for Azuki as well. Prodigy was asking us to pull it up. So the timeline here was the price was kind of shaky. Like you can see here, 14 ETH a couple days ago, but it absolutely fell off a cliff.
It was up to 16, 17 ETH like a week ago. And obviously some people were selling like pre-news, right? They were selling the rumor, whatever, buying the rumor, selling the news. But then, it went from being 16, 17 ETH for a week or two ago down to like sitting around 8 this morning.
Yep, 8.5 right now.
So basically they lost 50% value on their OG collection. And so like the copium yesterday, man, was kind of hilarious, like in a sad way to me. Like it was the immediate response when this revealed and everybody started seeing like this is basically just a dilutionary derivative of the original project that seems very sort of shoddy, and like they just recycled a lot of the art. Like when people immediately saw that, the reaction from so many people across the space was to simp on the team and be like, no, this is a master plan. They're going to update the metadata. This is a psych out. This is a PR stunt to get us all angry and talking. And there was, dude, I was listening to some spaces where it was like almost just like, it was just kind of cringy and sad, the things that people were hoping and coping with, man. And again, like I feel for people that like, this isn't what people expected, right? That's not what people expected.
So I want to play a game really quick. I'm going to pull up the original media of the actual piece here. I need you to not look anywhere else but the picture, and I need your answer within 0.5 seconds. So is this an Azuki? And you play at home, please. Is this an Azuki or is this an Azuki elemental?
I think it's an Azuki, but I don't know. Truth is,
that was an Azuki. That was an Azuki. Good job.
I have a sophisticated eye for this stuff though. But like there's not only do they basically recycle a bunch of the art and like have a bunch of lookalikes from the original collection, there's broken art and there's duplicates.
Azuki or Azuki elemental?
Elemental.
That's an Azuki.
It's an see, there you go.
For those folks at home wondering what the elementals look like, so we just showed you two Azukis on stage here. These are the Azuki.
Good question.
These are the Azuki elementals that revealed yesterday, and they look a lot like the original collection. Also, a breaking story over the last 10 hours. I don't know when they dropped the green beans, but there are now 10,000 Azuki green beans that have been dropped to the Azuki holders. And people are worried that they're going to use that to, and I'm going to take you into the Azuki collection now. That was the elementals. That the green beans are going to change the OG.
I don't think they're going to change
collection.
the OGs. I think they're going to change the elementals. That wouldn't make any sense, bro. There's no way, unless they create like a new version outside of the original piece of art, there's no way that they would do that. I just don't think, even as dumb as their decision making has been on this, they would not change the OG art. But they could either create a derivative mutant of the OG, or what I think they would do with these is they say there's only 10,000 of these that are airdropped to the Azuki holders, and you can trade them if you want, so you can get value extracted out of them if you don't have an elemental, or you can choose an elemental to mutate somehow.
Here, so great comments coming through. Easy is saying, didn't we see a video of different style anime and animals for the Azuki drop? That's what everybody was kind of saying, was they should have just dropped the animated looking or the human looking animal characters, right? Like that, they could have just done that.
And Marty's saying, Marty is literally voicing what we've been saying, Q, about the worst thing a Web3 brand or company can do is actually release a product instead of just endlessly hyping. He's basically saying that they shot themselves in the foot and would have stayed second had they done nothing. Like, literally releasing a product here was the worst thing that they could have done, other than the fact that they just took down 40 mil.
Yes. This isn't even the worst thing about it. I don't, Gif, if you can find the tweet of the you always talk about the the duplicates, but the effed up art, basically, where
broken art.
Yeah, the broken art piece. If you can find that. Also, while you're doing that, I'm looking at the Azuki and the Elementals collection, and honestly, if I do this fast enough, you guys won't know which one is which. But going into it, what is the actual difference? Did they lay out any explanation, or did any community members go in here and be like, what was the difference?
This is why I am so confident that this was a rush job, because there's several different things you can point to here. One is that there was, to your point, zero details about this project release prior to like a few days before. They announced this at their event live to make a stunt out of it and FOMO people into this thing without sharing any details about the art, about how it fit into the story. Nothing, no previews of the art. All of this should be massive red flags. When they're asking for a 2 ETH mint price, all of this should have been massive red flags to people. But of course, they were able to FOMO people in with their community and their marketing, and a great trailer, solid trailer. We love the trailer, but that was just a marketing trailer that had it didn't reflect really what these characters or the art or the product would look like at all.
Where are the creatures, Gif? Like there's no creatures?
They're probably the most expensive ones if you short from like high to low, because there's not that many of them.
Okay,
there's a few.
We got a gecko.
Pepe the frog suit. There you go.
That is bad, dude. That's a clean sloth, actually. Like in this collection, that is a dope. That is a grail right there. Marty's saying, I personally don't think the animals are cool. You wouldn't want to be a sloth PFP. Look, I would rock that. I don't know. I'd
rock that one.
That was a druid.
That fire raccoon one. Go down. That one.
Ooh,
right
that's
there.
Clean. This is a secondary. This is a secondary drop. Like, this is not the original OG collection. Like, it should have some distinct characteristics.
Yeah, but the other biggest thing is that, like, besides there's no info, they FOMO'd people in with a couple of things like in the last minute in a couple days with no details about the project. The fact that there's broken art and there's duplicates in it, that tells you all you need to know about the fact that they did not take the time to do a robust QC a quality control, quality assurance process where you go through in a very, very detailed, meticulous, sometimes manual way. I mean, you have different tools that can help with this, but you have to take the time to quality control all of these pieces of art and get rid of, like, fix broken art, fix the shadows, make sure that there's no duplicates. This is how you actually create a high, in my opinion, a highly valuable product that can accrue value over time. If they don't fix this shit, then you've got a broken product. Like, it's one of the most infuriating things. Like, I can have so much sympathy for founders that, you know, things don't go right, or they get some FUD, or there's unpredicted things that you can see that happen. Like, dude, I have so much sympathy for founders. But one thing I have zero sympathy for is when you ship a broken product because you didn't take time to actually, like, you didn't put enough effort into caring about your community, about the art, to go through and make sure that the final art is good quality. I have zero fucking sympathy for that, bro. It's like one of the things that rubs me the rawest. When I fucking mint a collection and you start to see on the floor that there's broken art in that collection, bro, I am fucking furious.
Here's the other piece to this is the distribution and the way they went about it with the sale was swept under the rug. Because again, that was the biggest negative FUD that I saw coming across Twitter was, oh man, like all these whales, you know, got in. But people were like, okay, that sucks. If people want to get in, you can buy it at a lower price. Again, they fucked that up. But once the broken art came out, once the fact that they look exactly the same came out, then it was a total bust. It was a total bust. So before that, I think the distribution piece is getting swept under the rug at this point. Well, but I thought it was an okay launch. Like,
it's interesting. Yeah, exactly. This could have gone so different, but it's interesting. You know, Fate, who was hanging out with us, was super bummed initially, didn't get one. You know, he had his beans, didn't get his elemental. He would have paid 2 ETH for an asset that's now worth 1.5 or less. So maybe like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. but he still paid a shit ton of money for a bean, probably, that's now worth 0.6. Those are worth less than half of what they were worth. So yeah.
Well, on the distribution front, again, most were bought up by 20% were bought up by like 8 wallets. So it never made it to public sale, which again is fucked up. I'm just gonna say it. Like, you want to talk about. That's my biggest issue is that now that they're talking and responding to a lot of the community sentiment, they're saying we wanted this drop to be about growing our collector base, growing our community. It's like,
no, this was about money. This was about front running Ether, Hv-Mtl, front running the summer market. This was about cash grabbing and capitalizing on the momentum that they had in their event in Las Vegas. That's what this was about. If they say anything else, I don't believe you. I don't believe you.
This is a tweet directly from it, and this is the most damning to me, is when they try to treat us like we're idiots. Right? We that's the cool thing about Web3 is there's a lot of really high IQ individuals that know their shit in this space, and you're trying to say our goal for this drop was to welcome new members. So why leave it open for 10 minutes? And
yeah, there's no way for it to get to public sale. The price point itself was inaccessible from the jump.
Yeah.
And because you're also like, if you're betting on yourself, you're saying it's going to go up. So you're saying like that if it was 2 ETH to begin with and then went up to 3, 4, 5 ETH floor, that you're trying to make this a moment to bring on a bunch of new people into your community. You are so inaccessible at that point already.
Gif, if you got that tweet from the broken art piece, this is just shitty art.
I did find one of the duplicates that I shared in the chat. I haven't found the broken art, but like the broken art is basically like, you know, different assets and hand assets that aren't fitting together. And then there's also shadows. There's broken shadows on a lot of them.
This was not better than the look. Okay. Because Marty's saying still better than the other side mint. Let's be clear. Okay. Pre-reveal, there wasn't really any gas wars. There wasn't a lot of
they optimized gas.
That, yes.
Let's give them credit. They optimized gas.
Okay, which was the problem with the other side is the way that they had set it up. It led to just like severe gas wars and all that stuff. Post-reveal, this is one of the worst drops that we have ever seen in this space. This is like Pixelmon, but Pixelmon had no expectations. This was like this was a project that was about to usurp Bored Ape Yacht Club, and they pulled this shit,
which is such a joke. But it's just the sheer fact that it's basically a ripoff of their own project that recycled a bunch of their own assets again and just diluted the value of their original collection to 30,000 is astonishing. And again, the thing that I have, like, I can be so sympathetic to founders because I know how hard this shit is. But the fact that you didn't tease, you did not show off any of the art ahead of time and FOMO'd people into this very short-term mint at 2 ETH, to me says you knew exactly what you were doing. You knew that people would not be receiving this very well if they really knew what they were getting. And you were just capitalizing on that momentum and FOMOing people into giving you a shit ton of fucking money. Like that, like I can't get past the fact that there's broken art, recycled assets, duplicates, and the way that they rolled this out to me says there's nothing. Like if you think that they care about the community, bro, that's not how founders that give a shit about their community operate. That's just not. You don't behave in this way. This was the most blatant cash grab that I've seen in a long time, and you're muted.
Yeah, let me take this time to share a project that has been going about it the right way in CyberKongz. So they're actually punning off of this debacle that happened yesterday. They're saying new element unlocked. They're sharing a little bit of Genkai art. CyberKongz has been sharing, and hopefully I can get to the guy's Twitter. No, they want. I need to look at it. But anyways, the process by which they're going out dropping their new art or their new collection is via whitelist that is manually looked at.
Yeah, applications are taking a lot of time, putting effort into it, a lot of thought.
I mean, who's doing more effort than that? Going application by application. Are you kidding me?
Like, well, Big Ink is probably doing something similar with theirs. You know, there are projects that are doing this, but I think they're a good example for sure. This is, I think it's a good contrast of the opposite of what Azuki just did, which is very low effort, not caring about the community really at all. Marty's saying this is what World of Women Galaxy did. I disagree. World of Women Galaxy clearly looks different than the original World of Women. So yeah, you can say maybe they diluted their supply a little bit, or they added too much supply too fast and there wasn't enough demand. But they didn't just copy pasta the exact same shit and make it impossible to tell the difference between those two collections.
CyberKongz is tweeting out the individuals that are making it on to their whitelist with a profile picture. Like this is
high touch effort. Yeah.
And it takes time, and it's probably not. I mean, the community members obviously appreciate it, but it's not like overly appreciated. Honestly, I don't know where the shock is coming from. We've seen this movie 1,000 times. I think it was at the utter stupidity of a team that was right there, that was literally right there at becoming the top NFT collection and IP in the space, and they just said, "Nope, we don't want it."
Well, and why it's so shocking is because they've worked so hard. They've over the last year or so had one of the best records of execution. They're one of the only communities that has actually done well during this crazy bear winter market that we've been in, when every other project is just absolutely losing, their floor price is plummeting, losing 90% of value in a lot of cases, or just fucking it up already because the founders did some dumb shit. Azuki has been one of the bright shining stars in the space that has shown that they can execute very well. And now all they've done is they've resurfaced all of the history of them being a team of serial ruggers. Like, it was such a misstep, in my opinion. And the people that were spreading copium, saying like, oh, it's part of a master plan and all this shit, man. It's like, you can look at what this has done to the floors already and their response to it. No, this was not a master plan. They thought they could get away with this and that people would just buy it anyway. They did it. They thought the money was more important to them to get that.
No idea.
Let's just put it that way.
I'm looking at my Twitter timeline as we get set to shut down the show here. This was pretty dope. I think it echoes a little bit of the sentiments that we've been talking about, where it is extremely hard to build in Web3. And a lot of times people that don't build anything at all are the ones that are the ones casting the stones. So this was a while ago, obviously, January 26th. So earlier this year, Gordon responding to Tropo Farmer, I'm guessing, who is obviously an influential, Twitter profile and character. He's saying, I don't know, Tropo, why don't you go start an NFT company and get everything right? Yeah. And this is a great one. 9gag is actually the one sharing this. So the CEO of Memeland. The problem with this is the Azuki drop is not in this category. It's not in this realm of what's being encapsulated here because of how low effort it was.
Yeah, I have to agree here. So this is why I'm so fast. I will continue to say I am extremely sympathetic to founders. I've been a founder. I've gotten fudded by our own community a lot because I am not doing enough. I haven't figured out how to turn what we were doing into a sustainable business model. I've fucked up things. I am the first one to understand and be sympathetic to founders who are putting out their best effort, putting the community first, trying different things, and it doesn't go to plan. I will be sympathetic to that to the end. I will be the first one to say that. But what I see here is not that. I see that they FOMO'd people in their community into giving them a shit ton of fucking ETH for a product that was rushed and that had errors and a lot of mistakes in it. And it was basically just a derivative. So I can be sympathetic to a point, but there's certain things where you just say, yo, this was a fucking cash grab that was calculated to FOMO people into this thing. I don't know, man. It's hard for me. Yeah, again, the broken art, the duplicates is dude, it just fucking makes me so furious, bro.
This is the second time I've seen this in the last week of this option of buying back the floor with treasury funds. So Z3 is saying they will sweep the floor and pull it back. It has a strong community. It does have a strong community. I don't know.
They just pissed off. They just pissed off a lot of them.
Split asunder right now. But Machi was talking about this, how ApeCoin, Treasury, and DAO should sweep the floor on BAYCs, MAYCs. It's an interesting concept that I think should be explored. And maybe Azuki thinks about it. We'll see it in real time. I'll have my last thought here. In the short term, this is great for Hv-Mtl. This is great for Yuga, Azuki, Ether, I think. There's a couple projects that will flourish off this. I mean, you couldn't timed the Hv-Mtl trailer better. Azuki completely botched their shit, and then Hv-Mtl comes out the next day, not even 24 hours, and now the game's about to launch. So Azuki went from, in a single day, being a competitor that was about to take the next step up versus Yuga to being essentially having their reputation tarnished completely. So,
dude, they told on themselves.
Yeah.
Straight up, man. They couldn't handle the pressure to actually maintain that high level of standard and integrity, and they told on themselves. They revealed themselves to be what they ultimately always were. And that's the narrative that now they have to fight back against again. They had separated themselves from everyone else and their history in a lot of ways with their execution over the last year, and now you have undone all of that good. And you have to remember, people will, like, the negative shit sticks in people's minds so much more than the positive shit. It takes 10 positive things now to undo one negative thing like this. Like, this is such a massive misstep. And again, I'll say that again, there's things that they can do. They can pivot, they can update, they can make a comeback. I'm sure Azuki will exist in the future. I'm not saying, I don't think it's done necessarily. I just think that this was such a fucking misstep from them and a short-minded cash grab thing that I think was hugely disrespectful.
Yeah.
And undid a lot of that good faith. Y'all
people
will
are
remember,
gonna walk right
dude,
back to him. Give it 3 months, people will be walking right back.
If you've been, hanging out with us, part of this community for a long time, you have seen my transition and my journey go from like, fuck Azuki, I don't fuck with them at all, they're serial ruggers, let's not even put them on the rate my bag shit, to over time giving them more credit and like paying more attention and saying, okay, look at them. Like, you've seen me go all the way from that to literally I was trying to buy beans in the last couple of weeks, and I did buy a bean yesterday, and then I immediately fucking sold it. And that's now like, how, like, fool me twice, right? Like, how am I now going to take you seriously after this? It's going to take a lot more again to get back that trust that you just lost again. That's how I feel. And that's why I think it's such a big fuck up. And I think that there's probably a lot of other people out there that are not going to be as quick to trust, but yeah, they'll probably come back eventually. I did share, there's apparently a big update from OniForce that I did share in the chat.
Yeah, that actually ties in with this tweet. So Wizards of Soho has been, I can't figure out if I really like this Twitter profile or if he's completely just psyoping me the entire time. Like, he's just a troll account posting to like FUD and get floor prices to where he wants to pick up certain assets, or if he's my favorite follow right now. But he's saying Pudgy Penguins, and this might honestly send me over the edge. Pudgy Penguins and OniForce teams have zero mint money. They never extracted a single dollar from their community and are spending their own money building. I would mint anything of them in a heartbeat if they ever decide to raise through community. They are the standard now. And so I want to give a quick shout out to
I'm sure
Wizard. Go ahead.
Well, I'm sure he has bags of both.
Exactly.
Right?
That's where I have to like stop myself with this guy, because I do enjoy his takes, but I think a lot of it's like based on short-term flipping with him.
Left Action House saying, support the indie creators, the whale rug creators. We'll be fine without you. And Quasar, super bullish on Oni, like we are. DP saying, GIF was finally wooed by Azuki, only to have his heart broken. Damn, hashtag trust issues. Yeah, emotional damage. Quasar saying, yeah, the flippening of the OniForce flippening has begun. Sorry, what was that Oni announcement though? Is there something?
Yeah, so
right?
The Oni announcement here from their official Twitter says, special announcement reveal from Star-Lordy coming tomorrow, 9 a.m. Pacific. Use our marketplace to benefit from upcoming announcements. A snapshot of all participants will be taken. One listing will get you on the board with points regardless of the sale. So it might be a
So I have a feeling I know part of what's going to be announced tomorrow, and I don't think I can share it. But just know that I continue to be very bullish, and I have been continuing to try and buy more Onis, not financial advice. I might try and get another one before tomorrow, though.
The 0.42 call on Oni will go down in absolute history, because I know for a fact that this thing's just gonna like continue running because of the narrative they can hype up off of now. So
it'll go down in history as your worst, your best worst call.
Best call that I never pulled the trigger on. But look,
so your worst best call.
My worst, yes, because I never came through. We did, in fact, buy some heavies though. So I'm in heavy on the heavy metals. We are watching that. We will be streaming that tomorrow. Heavies are sitting around 0.86 right now. I fully expect this to continue throughout the next 24 hours because, man, that was a nasty looking homepage there. But you can see right up there, 0.86. We'll be streaming it tomorrow. I think, honestly, the utility with the voting pieces is super strong for the heavies. And I'm just extremely bullish, man. There's a lot of stuff going on.
You're going to get a fucking mech in the other side. I mean, I don't know, man.
Very true.
Big week.
Yeah, huge week, man. This has been one of the most exciting times to cover the NFT and Web3 space that I can remember. In a positive way, in a sense. It wasn't about like bank FUD, SEC, all this other shit. It was about things that were happening within our industry.
Yeah, we didn't even get into HSBC or whatever, the biggest like Hong Kong bank offering Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs now. Like, there's a lot of other shit happening, but I think on the more positive note, despite whatever FUD and missteps are happening, I would say that there's also a general sentiment of like, hey, it's exciting. this is fun. You know, there's big things happening and a lot to talk about. So, dude, and you know what? I got to shout out all of the fucking meme lords on Twitter too. The memes, the memes always get me, man. They're fucking chef's kiss. Those Hv-Mtl memes yesterday had me fucking lolling, and yeah, made my day.
All right, Quasar, Prodigy, Easy in Crypto saying smash the like. DP, who else was here? Left Action House, Marty McFly. I can go all the way back. Justin Casey. Owen Rogers won the $50 in ApeCoin, so I'm getting you your ApeCoin today, sir. If you guys
that's got utility in the Hv-Mtl Forge now, guy. You just made out great. I wish I had 50 extra ApeCoin for my Hv-Mtl forging.
If you do have extra ApeCoin, do me a favor. Go to that link really quick. It's super easy process. You can vote for Sasha, who's right in the running. I mean, this is going to come down to it, I think. He's about 400,000 ape behind. And if you get in the top 2, he can win the election. I basically have that Wild Web pod coming out in the next hour or two. I'm going to try to pump that out. But just stay tuned to Twitter. We will be releasing that. He dropped a lot of info on like the origins of the DAO and the election process now. So excited for Sasha.
We can do this right now. Let's do this fucking live. Let me share my screen because I just bought some ApeCoin while we were live.
All right.
Let's show how this works. This is DAO governance in real time for the ApeCoin DAO. So see my screen? Is that my screen?
There you go. Yep.
Wait, where?
So
we go. All right. So connect wallet. Go connect your wallet. This is the one with the ApeCoin in it. So I'm assuming all I need is I got ApeCoin in my wallet.
Go down.
And scroll down. Sasha. Cast your vote. Click Sasha and then vote.
It should be a read receipt kind of.
So click vote. 0 ape. Wait, I have ape. How do I?
Womp, womp, womp. Are you sure it's in that wallet?
Should be. Yeah. ApeCoin. Yeah, I got 178 ApeCoin in this wallet.
Is it? And it's not staking or anything?
Oh, it says, oops, seems you don't have any voting power.
Oh, I think you would have needed ape by a certain point. I think he said that.
Oh, at block. Okay.
Yeah.
So there you go. I just learned something new about governance, and that's why we're doing this. So if you can see my screen, I don't know if you can see that. Yeah. So that error there, if I can zoom in, you don't have any voting power at block 1750, whatever. So it looks like I missed the window because this is new ApeCoin and I wasn't voting soon enough. There you go. Learning.
It's as simple as that, though. You would click confirm. It would have like a read receipt that you would have to sign. So no gas.
If you didn't do it, I just didn't buy ApeCoin today and you had ApeCoin previously in your wallet, you should be able to go vote, though, with that link in the chat. And go vote for Sasha. Go do it. I just tried. Couldn't do it. So somebody else, please go vote for Sasha.
So that Wild Web pod will come out here in the next 2 hours. Again, really great topics, which are just ApeCoin DAO, governance. I mean, it was a great conversation. I mean, he's talking about bringing in people from multinational communities, right? He's like in Thailand. He's been to Japan, Hong Kong, and been to all the Bored Ape meetups in those countries. That's what we need. So,
yeah. And Prodigy, thanks for keeping me honest. $50 of ApeCoin, not 50 ApeCoin. Totally. Yeah, you're
dirty
right.
Fiat.
Yeah, dirty fiats. Anyway, our vibe, our tribe. We'll be back tomorrow. Last episode of the week. Smash the like for this guy Nifty Q over here, keeping the wild web alive.
All right, folks. Hv-Mtl tomorrow. I'm stoked. So I'll see y'all. Peace.